This is a trap that is no joke and needs to be avoided, whether you're trading in the stock market or futures market, Forex market, crypto market, Bitcoin. I don't care what you're trading. If you allow your mind to open up these trap doors and you fall into it, bad things are going to happen. And I'm not going to sit here and talk in theory. I have two examples, which is a little ironic. The day that I'm shooting this video, earlier on Instagram, I got a message which, I mean, just beautifully fit right into what I'm going to talk about. So what is this trap? This is not official, so don't go, at least I don't think it's official, but I'm pretty sure if you go and look in like a psychology textbook or something like this, you're not going to see this. But what I call it is the nobility trap. You know, everybody's, you know, the knight in shining armor, do the noble thing. And I agree, you should do the right thing. You should do the noble thing. And that is also the problem when it comes to people that are usually just getting started or beginners to the markets and trading. But I suppose in theory it can really happen to everybody if you're not aware of it. But the way the nobility trap works is this. So we have some sort of trader, and then they're going to go on their journey. And right here, I want you to insert noble cause. In other words, and I should have noted, this right here represents they're getting into, we'll call it the stock market. But like I said, this applies to any sort of market, and I guess really anything in life when it comes to this. But they want to get in the stock market. Why? Well, insert some sort of noble cause. And then they go and they behave in a very foolish manner. They make poor choices. They conduct themselves, they approach certain situations in a very foolish way. Now, to offer up some some perspective and some defense. I mean, when you're new and you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to know what is foolish. But as somebody that's been helping traders since 2013, I've seen this happen again and again. And the problem is they're doing some really foolish things. But can you guess what they're using to justify their actions? Well, if you're saying, well, they're probably saying, well, because I'm doing insert noble cause, I mean, it's okay, right? So what do I mean by all this? Well, I'm going to go through two examples, and one actually comes from my chat room community, and this person is a great individual. They were totally open to, the constructive criticism and just the feedback that they received. So I'm going to walk you through that, and then I'll show you the Instagram one too. But I will admit that the one from the chat room is relatively extreme. But my point with that is, if the nobility trap can get this extreme, can you imagine just all the little nooks and crannies where it could potentially go? So again, I'm not saying that you would ever take it this extreme, but like I said, if it can get that crazy, I mean, how non-crazy can it get? But here's the tricky thing about trading in the markets. Even those little non-tricky things, I mean, they're still enough to eventually sink the ship, sink any sort of strategy and system that you may be trying to put together. So let's first just start off with the Instagram one. And as I read it, see if you can fill in. See if you can fill in exactly what's going on. The noble cause, and then their foolish action. So let's go to, like I said, this Instagram message. So this person says, "Can't you trade for me? I need money for my girls. I will buy Bitcoin." To offer up a little bit more context, this person was wanting to know, hey, I have $250. Can you trade for me? And this is very foolish. This is so foolish. I get messages all the time from people saying they got scammed out of money because somebody says, yeah, I'll trade for you. Send me that money right over. And then poof, they're gone. And I'm not saying this in a self-righteous type of way, but this was an easy $250. Just, yeah, send it on over, and then that's it. Very foolish. If you're somebody out there, and I don't know why, it just seems, maybe it's more commonplace overseas, but it seems like always the foreigners are always saying, hey, can you trade for me? Can you trade for me? Are you account manager? And all this sort of stuff. And I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more commonplace in other countries, but where I'm at in the USA, I can't really think of any I suppose that might be a lie. There probably been some Americans that have said, hey, will you trade for me? But the point being, when you are brand new and you don't know what you don't know, don't go out there and just say, hey, let me give you some money, and especially somebody on Instagram. I mean, if you're going to do it, I mean, do it in a structured manner where there's legal ramifications if that person runs off with your money. But in this situation, I mean, that could, like I said, an easy $250. Very, very foolish. But did you catch the noble cause? Which is very noble. And as a father of 4 kids, I applaud this person. I commend them. I'm not saying that what they're doing, I mean, it's noble. It truly is noble. What? His girls, right? He's got some kids. He's got some girls. He's got their best interest at heart. I'm assuming he's trying to make a better life for them. Fantastic. That's so noble. But just because you're doing something noble does not justify you to go out there and does not give you an excuse to go out there and act so foolish. Because here's the great thing about the market. The markets don't care about your height, weight, sex, gender, what race you are, where you live, what your favorite movie is, what your favorite sports. The market doesn't care about any of that stuff. Doesn't care. I mean, it's purely equal. But the market also doesn't care about why you're in the market. It doesn't care that this person's in the market for his girls. The market will still viciously beat this guy up, take his money if he acts in a foolish manner. So always, like anything in life, there's always that catch-22, right? The markets, they don't discriminate. They don't care. But they also don't care about noble causes. So very, very foolish. And just to act, I mean, that's the trap, right? He's fallen into the trap of saying, well, because I'm doing this for my girls, will you trade my money? And then after I told him, no, I can teach you how to trade, then he says, I'm just going to go buy Bitcoin. So unfortunately, I mean, this person doesn't know what they're doing, and now they're just going to go buy Bitcoin. I hope Bitcoin goes to the moon for this person and for his girls, but yeah, still acting very, very foolish in the spirit of noble cause. Let's go to the second example. So what you see on the screen here, to set up some context, this is just a back and forth in the chat room that I offer. So the first person up there, Homer Khan, is just asking them about a stop loss. They're just explaining stop loss and trying to figure out, all right, well, what kind of stops are you using? And then the Don says, for the next day, yes, but same day, I can't do anything to it, but watch it slip away and I throw up. Some additional context. Within the stock market, there is something called the PDT rule, the pattern day trading rule. And without going too far into the weeds, basically, you only have 3 day trades per 5-day rolling period. A day trade being able to buy a stock and sell a stock in the same day. So that's what a day trade is. Buy a stock and then be able to sell it in the same day. But you can only do that 3 times over a 5-day rolling period. It's a total stupid rule. It's a dumb regulation. Like I said, I won't go down that rabbit hole for now. But what this person is saying is, hey, I've used up all my day trades. Or in other words, I can still buy, but I can't sell in that same day. Do you realize how foolish that is? And now I realize we already talked to this person, but you as a viewer, that is a very, very foolish thing to do. This is definitely extreme. And I assume most people are not doing this, where you're out there literally putting yourself into a situation where if something terrible happens, you can't get out because you literally don't have any day trades left, meaning you can't exit. And to add another layer of context into just being foolish, people are asking, well, what sort of stocks do you have? And he lists off a bunch of micro cap, penny stocks, or in other words, super, super risky stocks, super, super volatile stocks that he's getting in and then he can't get out of. Now, he can get out of them, like you said, the next day, but in some cases, that might be way, way too late. Hopefully, that's all I need to say in terms of foolishness. Putting yourself in a stock without the opportunity, without the ability to get out, and you're doing that with really, really risky stocks, foolish, foolish, foolish. But let me read this next message. And let's see if you can kind of fill in the blank over here. So he says, I'm really trying to help my grandmother because she's 98 with very little money, and I'm 30, feeling like it's my responsibility to help her the most. I don't really think I need to say anything. That's pretty self-explanatory. 98-year-old grandma with little money, and he's trying to help her out. Does it get any more noble than that? I don't know if it does, but there is no doubt about it. That is a very, very noble cause. But just because you have such a noble cause like that, that's not an excuse. That's not a justification for you to go out there and behave in some sort of foolish manner. So my challenge to you, my question to you, something that you need to reflect on is, and be honest with yourself. That's how you get better as a trader. You got to be self-aware. So be honest with you, are you out there maybe behaving in ways that you know you shouldn't behaving? You know that it's pretty risky. You know that, technically speaking, but, and then you throw in some noble cause, which again, I'm not refuting the fact that it's not noble, but be honest, are you doing any of that? Because if you are, the market doesn't care. Remember about that. The market doesn't care what your noble cause is. It's going to crush you. It's going to just absolutely massacre you. And in many cases, usually it gives some fool's gold, where it gives you some success, gives you a little bit more success, builds up some false confidence, and then it's game over. And this has happened time and time again. I've heard it over and over again. I'm not saying this is the case for you, but you better be aware of this nobility trap, because I see it all the time. Maybe not to the extent of people putting themselves in trades where they literally can't get out of the trade. Like I said, if things can get that crazy, imagine all the other areas that it's maybe creeping up in your trading. So just be, like I said, there's no shame. I've done this before. Well, I'm doing this because I want to give my kids a better life, or I want to, insert noble cause. Therefore, it's okay for me to do this. No, it's probably not okay. So just, like I said, run a self-audit on yourself, be self-aware, and if you are recognizing some of these areas in your trading, then yeah, take the corrective action needed in order to make sure that you stop doing it, because eventually it's going to catch up to you, because foolish behavior can last for a while in the market, but eventually you're going to get smacked upside the face. So hopefully this can help. And maybe you've done this in the past. If you have, in the comment section, I would love to hear about maybe some nobility traps that hopefully the trap never got you, but you realized before the trap did get you. But leave those down below. What did you think, or what were you doing? And then what were some of the foolish things that you were letting play out in your trading? I'd love to hear about all those. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you want to see other content, including live trade videos, other sorts of videos like this, then make sure to check out my channel. And hopefully you decided to ultimately subscribe. Thanks for hanging out. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up, as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.